You've probably felt alone in a crowded room before. Alone at a party where you don't know anyone. Alone in a new city, surrounded by strangers who don't look up. It's an uncomfortable feeling, but it passes, because eventually someone notices you. Someone remembers your name. You have never been this alone. Because the real answer to what your first day alive looks like is far stranger than anything you felt in a crowded room. You begin as a speck, no bigger than a grain of rice, curled inside a translucent egg the size of a rice grain itself. Your mother spun that egg by hand, one of nearly 200,000 she wove into long strings and hung from the ceiling of her den. She has not eaten in months. She stopped the day she laid you. She will never eat again. By the time you break free of your egg, she is already gone. There is no one waiting for you on the other side. You emerge into open water, smaller than a fingernail, and you start swimming immediately. No practice, no guidance. No mother nudging you toward the surface the way other newborn animals get nudged. Just movement and instinct in the vast dark water ahead of you. You are a paralarva now, tumbling through currents alongside plankton, jellyfish, and drifting scraps of debris. Do you know where the current is taking you? No. The ocean decides that for you, and it does not ask your opinion. For weeks, sometimes months, you drift like this. You hunt tiny copepods with arms barely formed. You dodge shapes 1,000 times your size. Almost none of your siblings survive this stage. Some researchers estimate that out of every 1,000 paralarvae that hatch, only a handful ever reach the seafloor as adults. You have no mother to hide behind. No school of siblings moving together for safety the way sardines or salmon fry do. Just you, alone, in blue water with no edges and no floor. Eventually, if you are lucky, you sink. You settle onto the seafloor and your body begins to change. Your arms lengthen. Your suckers sharpen. The drifting speck becomes something built entirely for hiding, and hiding becomes your whole life from this point forward. Even other octopuses aren't automatically safe. Cannibalism among your kind has been documented often enough that researchers no longer treat it as rare, especially when food is scarce or a den is contested. There is no recognition between you and a stranger of your own species. No instinct that says, leave this one alone, it's family. If you are smaller and hungry enough and careless enough to wander into the wrong den, you can become another octopus's meal just as easily as a fish's. You find a crevice, a cracked shell, an old bottle if nothing better is available, and you make it your den. You squeeze your boneless body through gaps barely wider than one of your own eyes. There is no skeleton inside you to stop you. Nothing rigid at all except your beak. That is both your greatest gift and your greatest weakness. You can fit into almost anywhere on the reef, but almost anything with a mouth can still tear you apart. So you watch. Always. Every hour you're awake, and some hours you're not. Camouflage is your first defense, and it has to work almost every time. When it fails, you have only seconds left. You can blast a cloud of ink into the water and vanish behind it, a dark ghost of yourself hanging in the current while the real you jets away in the opposite direction. You can flatten your body and squeeze into a gap barely wider than a coin. You can even drop an arm entirely, leaving it twitching on the seafloor as a decoy while the rest of you escapes. There is no backup plan beyond this. No herd to scatter into. No parent to place herself between you and the danger. Just you and whichever trick you manage to pull off first. Your skin ripples with colors you may not even be able to see. Most evidence suggests you are colorblind. And yet somehow you match the mottled rock beside you down to its exact texture. The camouflage researcher Roger Hanlon has spent decades trying to explain exactly how you manage this. One line of research even suggests your own skin can sense light directly, reading the world through your arms the way your eyes never could. How do you match a color you can't perceive? Nobody has fully answered that yet. Real rest is a luxury you rarely get. Every predator in this water would eat you without hesitation. Eels, groupers, seals, even other members of your own species if they're hungry enough and you're careless enough. You have three hearts keeping you alive, not one. Two of them exist purely to push blood through your gills. But both of those gill hearts stop working the instant you swim, which is why jetting through open water leaves you exhausted in a way that walking never does. Your blood isn't even red. It runs blue, thickened with a copper-based protein called hemocyanin, instead of the iron-based hemoglobin running through you if you were human. That blue blood carries oxygen more efficiently in cold, low-oxygen, high-pressure water than red blood ever could. It's a brilliant adaptation. It's also the reason swimming hard enough, for long enough, can kill you. So you crawl instead, arm over arm over arm, hugging the seafloor, keeping your softest parts pressed against the rock. Even your own arms don't fully answer to you. 2/3 of your neurons live out in your arms rather than in your brain, and each arm can taste, touch, and react on its own, sometimes solving small problems before the rest of you even notices there was a problem to solve. It's a strange kind of body, a crowd of minds wearing one skin. And yet, inside that soft, hunted, endlessly watchful body, something remarkable is happening. You are thinking, really thinking. Jennifer Mather, who has studied your kind for decades, has documented octopuses opening jars, navigating mazes, and recognizing individual human faces well enough to squirt water at the ones they don't like. You can plan ahead. You appear to play, tossing objects back and forth just to watch them drift. You may even dream. A study led by Silvia Medeiros in Brazil found that sleeping octopuses cycle through an active phase where their skin flashes through colors and textures, almost as if replaying a memory only they can see. Could that be a dream? Nobody can say for certain. But the philosopher Peter Godfrey Smith has described meeting your kind as the closest thing on Earth to meeting an intelligent alien. You can even plan for a future you haven't seen yet. In 2009, the researcher Julian Finn documented octopuses in Indonesia collecting discarded coconut shell halves, stacking them together, and carrying them awkwardly across the seafloor, only to reassemble them later into a makeshift armored shelter. Carrying that shell costs you energy and slows you down in the moment. You gain nothing from it immediately. You are simply betting on a version of yourself that doesn't exist yet, a future you who might need to hide in a hurry. Very few animals without a backbone are known to plan that far ahead. So here is the cruelty hiding underneath all that brilliance. You will never be taught any of it. No mother shows you which den is safest. No sibling shows you how to pry open a clam. Every solution you ever find, you find completely alone, invented from nothing, as if you were the very first of your kind to ever face that exact problem. There is no culture passed down between generations, no stories, no shortcuts. What good is genius if there's no one left to hand it to? And time is already running out for you, faster than it should for a mind this sharp. Most octopus species live only 1 to 2 years from hatching to death. A few push past 4. That's the entire span of a creature clever enough to outwit trained scientists in a laboratory. Why would evolution build something this intelligent, then give it so little time to use it? The answer waits at the very end of your life, and it is the strangest part of this whole story. If you're female, one day you will mate, then find a den, then lay your eggs. Thousands of pale strings hanging from the ceiling like tinsel. And then you will simply stop. Stop hunting. Stop eating. Stop leaving the den at all. You will spend every remaining hour of your life fanning oxygen-rich water over your eggs and chasing away anything that drifts too close. Weeks pass this way, sometimes months. Your body begins to fail. Your skin pales. Your reactions slow. You are starving yourself on purpose, and you cannot stop. In 1977, a researcher named Jerome Wodinsky discovered why. A small structure behind your eye called the optic gland switches on after you lay your eggs and begins dismantling your body from the inside on a schedule. Remove that gland surgically and a mother octopus can recover, resume eating, and live on for months longer. Leave it in place, and it kills her precisely, deliberately, almost like it was designed to. More recent work, including research led by Ziyan Wang, has traced the exact chemical cascade behind this self-destruction back into your own genes. You are not simply dying of exhaustion.
You are dying on schedule. By the time your eggs finally hatch, you are already gone. Your children will drift into the same wide, empty water you once drifted into, as a speck barely bigger than a grain of rice. They will never meet you. They will never know your name, if you ever had one at all. Everything you learned, every den you found, every predator you outsmarted, dies with you, unused by the only generation that might have needed it. And if you're male, your ending arrives even faster. Many octopus males die within weeks of mating, their bodies simply shutting down once their only remaining biological purpose has been completed. So much intelligence, so little time to use it, so little chance to ever pass any of it on. You've probably felt alone in a crowded room before. It passed eventually because somebody remembered you were there, or came looking for you, or simply sat down beside you. Nobody comes looking for you. There was never a crowded room to begin with, only an open ocean, and a mother who was already gone before you took your first breath, and children, if you live long enough to have them, who will drift away into the same silence you were born into, never once learning your face. That is what it means to be born an octopus. The sharpest mind in the entire sea, spun out entirely alone, in the dark, with no one left to tell.